Raw video files are not always what you think they are, and they're not always what you want. Alright, so I'm Danny Naggie. I do wedding videography, I record podcasts, I do music videos, I do all kinds of visual media. And I have come across the question of, can we have the raw files a good amount of times? And I've experienced a few times where I send raw files, but they say, hey, it's corrupted, or we cannot open it, or things like that. And I'm like, well, they are raw files. I mean, to be frank, they are not really the truest form of the RAW, if I'm really getting into the crazy specifics. But to give some nerdy information, I shoot with Sony cameras, and I shoot with, if I want the best quality, the best or the most amount of dynamic range and things like that, I shoot S-Log 3 color profile, which usually is very bland. I'll show you an example here. And I shoot 10-bit 422 XAVCS 4K 60 frames per second. 60 frames per second. It's quite a mouthful. I know it's a lot. Why do you need that information? Honestly, you don't. That's why I'm saying that when you want raw files, you actually want them converted into a viewable format. So they're not really the same thing. For a videographer, raw file, yeah, we got what it is. It's what comes out from the camera. From a perspective of the people who hired me, when they want raw file, it's actually just unedited file. And that's pretty much it. And there's a big question of, oh, should we give out raw files? Should we not give out raw files? That really depends on the person you're hiring. Sometimes it is part of the contract that you are getting raw unedited files, more like unedited files. There's extra work that's attached to rendering this part of the work, and I will tell you why. But there are some people who don't include it, where their deliverables are just the final edits. I like to offer like a FOMO edit, where I give him like a behind the scenes kind of edit. It's somewhat uncut, somewhat cut, but it's not the raw that comes out of the camera. Now anyway, so when it comes to preparing these raw files that comes out of the camera, you need, well, I work on a Mac, so Macs can open them, but you also need professional editing software and a lot of space. So usually my weddings are about no more than 1 terabyte. So some weddings are 300-400 gigabytes. I shoot 4 cameras plus drones and all the audio files. Here we're just talking about raw video files. So when I am looking at converting 3 cameras worth of video footages, that can take upwards of a couple of hours. And of course, I gotta have the space for these files on either an external hard drive or on my computer, which means I'm not only looking at having the space for the actual footages, the raw footages, but also the converted viewable footages. So it's a lot of storage, you know. So if you say you want the raw files, you actually mean you want the unedited clips in a viewable format. When your videographer says, okay, it's gonna take this much extra, know that it's because it can take anywhere between a couple of hours to half a day to prepare and deliver them, upload them, or put them on a thumb drive, sending it. So it can be a half a day worth of job, because we can be looking at like converting 300-ish footages. And I know it's your special day, it's your wedding, and you want to see it, but that's kind of the extra workload that it also takes to do it. And the reason why I shoot in that way, because I want the most amount of quality that I can get, so that I have a lot more to work with. And what you're seeing in a viewable format is gonna be as good as I can make it, I can record it. If I record it in a different way, it doesn't have all that extra information. So that's pretty much it. So when you say you want raw, you actually want viewable unedited clips. So thank you so much. That was Danny Naggie. If you like the information, please like, share, and subscribe, and check out Wedding Films, my website, my YouTube. Hope to shoot your wedding. Bye-bye.